Okay, we're holding here Hazzarah Tarubis, Simon Kuf Beis, the left off with Siv Gimel. Kli Shenes Ava B'lias Isser, a Kli that became Osser with B'lias of Isser, Shenes Arav Ba'acherim, Ve'ena Nicker. You have one Kli, a very common case, you have a milk like a Kli, very mistakenly used it for fleishiks, and now became Treif, and it fell back into your milk like a cutlery. Ve'ena Nicker, and I can't tell which one is the Isser one, bottle. It's bottle, Baruch, Ve'en Dar Isser Kadav Shesh L'Matirim. We don't say it's like a Davar Shesh L'Matirim because you could be Magalit. This Isser spoon that fell in has a gola. Yesh L'Matirim. We don't call it Yesh L'Matirim, says the Ramah, while if it's a Tzarech L'Hoitzi Allah V'Yitzarez L'Agilai V'Chol K'Yaytze B'Zeh. You have to go and pay a lot of money to go kasher it. Anything, Yesh L'Matirim is only if it's going to happen without any financial loss, without any tircha we'll see, or without any difference of taste in the food. So you have to wait till later on until it becomes bottle and it's going to ruin the taste of the food. Also, that's not called Yesh L'Matirim.
What kind of choice would the Ramah be referring to?
Well, you have to go hire somebody maybe, or you have to go, today you can do it in your kitchen.
Right, so
yeah, so as man there's no choice. Right. So is that called Kli? Is that called Yesh L'Matirim or not? So we'll see. Let's see the Shach first, and then we'll see about Bizman Hazeh. The Shach is called Ches. Kosim Mashal Per Kalavasar. LaYitzarech L'Zeh Atav Shal Pizim O'isav. Ki B'lav Hachinam Kivin LeBo Hetem Amelim Mekayich Zman. Lechashav Davar Shesh L'Matirim. So the Mashal says that anything that doesn't come by itself is not called Yesh L'Matirim. You have to have an Isser have to come by itself. And says the Shach, I'm not sure what he's talking about because we know not bad. We just started. So there's says the Shach, even something that doesn't come automatically by itself, it's called Yesh L'Matirim. For example, Kegoyin Nedarim. The Darim, which is you need a heter, you have to do something about it. It doesn't happen by itself, and still it's called Yesh L'Matirim. So you see, even though it doesn't happen by itself, it's still not called Yesh L'Matirim. So here the Ra'ah argues in the whole Rajma. So the Ra'ah has a whole different problem over here. The Mechaber says that Yesh L'Matirim is not called Yesh L'Matirim. Why? Because it's hard to be Magalit, a Tircha or Haitzarz. The Ra'ah says, forget about Yesh L'Matirim. Let's say this is not called Davar Shesh L'Matirim. Fine. There's another reason why it's not bottle, because it's called Nikar HaIsser. Why is it Nikar HaIsser? Because even the Efshel HaIsser Isser B'Toicha Yadei Agala Have HaNikar HaIsser Have Kin Nikar HaIsser Besul Lo Yisagi B'Kelem Elush Litan HaIsser Tam B'Hetu Ayin Sham Sheherich. So we have a new Chumrah here. Besides the Chumrah that Kelem maybe is Yesh L'Matirim, maybe not, there's another problem here. The Ra'ah says it's called Nikar HaIsser. You see the Isser, you can take it out. Anytime it's Nikar Isser, we know it's not bottle. A piece of meat falls into a pot, the Shishu connected the piece of meat, the piece of meat's not bottle. Why? It's Nikar. Take it out. Right? It's Nikar Isser. Here also, the Isser that's in the Kli, since you could take it out, it has a din like Nikar Isser.
And therefore
it's not bottle. Without Yesh L'Matirim. Forget about Yesh L'Matirim.
It's the Kli itself that's Nikar? Or
no, the Isser that's in the Kli is Nikar.
How would you see that?
Because you can pull it out. If you can take it out, it's called Nikar Isser.
No, but we're talking about, let's say, a spoon, milk spoon gets cut in one of fleishiks or in Isser, a spoon of Isser. Whereas it's the spoon, it's not the
but since you could separate the bleas from the spoon, so it's as if the bleas, let's say, are sitting on top of the spoon.
How will you separate it? Through
Agala.
So then they're really saying the same thing. I mean,
yeah,
at the end of the day, it comes down to
no, with behold, Yesh L'Matirim, is not called, if you need a tzah, it's not Yeshla Matirim. But Nikr Issa, you don't have that svara. But Nikr Issa, I don't care if it's a tzah, it's not a tzah, it doesn't make a difference. So it's called Nikr Issa.
You have to take it out. He's stretching the definition of Nikr, because here he's saying because it can come out,
that's
that
called
makes
Nikr.
It Nikr.
That's called Nikr.
Because it can come out.
Normally you think Nikr means something you can see.
Right, a piece of meat, for that. We'll have a Kuf Dalet, that the Shala, what's called Nikr Issa.
I mean, the pot itself,
right, how much
that spoon itself, maybe
strain it out.
No, but that's not talking about that spoon itself.
Because it runs out the spoons, right?
Right, but that's saying that. It's saying the bli is in the spoon.
So then, according to him, when we had before about, whether the blias go all the way up the spoon, down the spoon, according to him, does he have a spur that somehow we can tell where the blias are?
No, we don't know where they
How
are.
far do you take that idea of nikr?
No, we don't know where they are. Since you could pull it out. Since you could separate it, it's called, right now you can't see it. Of course you can't see it. But since you could take it out, it has a din like Nikr Issa. We had in the Kuf Dal a question of what's called Nikr Issa.
Right.
You can't see it, you can feel it.
You can feel it, you don't see
right.
how much.
Maybe you have to see it after.
Right.
Here's a different type of Nikr Issa.
Right.
You could pull it out, it's called Nikr Issa.
So therefore it's not a Ashur.
Therefore it's not bottle. Therefore it's not bottle. Forget about Yeshamatim, that's the Oz Chumrah. So that's one chumrah that the Shach brings down. Maril but Shuvah Sim Kuf Tzad Dal Chalak Gamken Rashba Taitzala Gila Hefsen Muatu. It's called Hefsen Muat. The Shach is going to go through a bunch of reasons why you do have to be Magalit. A bunch of reasons why. First of all, the Ra'az Chumrah. Second of all, the Maril says that it's not called the Hefsen Merubah, Hefsen Muat. It's a small amount that it costs you to be Magalit Kelim. Therefore, you have to go ahead and be Magalit. And then the Shach says, "V'yesh lachush l'dvara b'makom shel hefsem merubah." Wherever there's no hefsem merubah, you should go ahead and be magal all the kelim. V'gam nirali shesh lishvayis hakelim asher liyeh ben neyemam the ashay min haTorah. At least you have to wait, even when it's a hefsem merubah, you have to wait till it is not a ben yem anymore. What's not a ben yem? Well, you get rid of the iser de'araisa. So the Shach, if you go right in the Shach comes out.
So what's
basically
waiting on Emez Leis? No, if you're going to do Hagala?
No.
Or if you're not going to do
Even if you're not going to do Hagala, the Shach says by a hefsid merubah, right?
Then he'll be mater.
He'll be mater. But even in the case of a mater, you have to wait 24 hours.
24 hours, and
then it becomes
it's a tiruf of the two.
Right, and then it becomes mutter.
Because 24 hours.
Nobody's talking about tiruf, everybody's talking about hefsid merubah.
Right. Don't talk about Tircha here. Here you don't say anything about Tircha. So the Shach basically comes out the Chumrah. The Shach basically comes out the Chumrah. The Mechaber says a Kli Shenefet B'lis Istisha is arav is called Eile Matirim, and the Shach says it's Yeshla Matirim or the Chumas Hara'ah. The Shach basically comes out of the Chumrah. So you finish the Shach. What's going to happen is if you have a spoon that became a treif and it got mixed up with the rest of the spoons, you have to kasher the whole set, according to the Shach. Because it's not called Hefsem Merubah, it's not so hard to put every spoon into the pot and kasher it. And the truth is, some person argue, some person hold, according to the place he says, it's a big tircha to go ahead and to kasher the whole set of spoons. That's not Yechiel material. So you have machlokes in the Achreinim. How we pass it today, it depends who you ask. Some Rabbanim will say, well, the Chumrah. Shach is a Gol Chumrah. A lot of Rabbanim will say, no. In Neman, they say that a spoon that got mixed up with the rest of the cutlery is Bata B'Rayv. And you don't have to be Magalit. It's a Tircha or whatever it is, it's not called Yesh Lamatir.
This halach is different than when we learned at the end of Basar V'Chalav, where you find one in a drawer.
Yeah, because here the question is if you used it at all. In end of the question is did you use it B'Chlal for Basar V'Chalav? Here,
that you find a milchig, no.
Yeah, you find a milchig spoon in the place you throw.
The question was to wash together or not.
Right.
That's the question. We don't know if it was washed together, maybe it became also or not. Here, it's a tray.
So there we say stam kelimena ben yoman. And then you don't have to be magul. You don't have to do anything there.
And therefore, even if you wash it, it's not a problem.
Right. So by milchig and fleisha getting mixed up, turns out you have everybody is paskin b'kula.
Milchig and flesh is going to be.
In other words, in the drawer, you find the milchig one.
Yeah.
So there, everybody.
No,
but when you find Isser, here you have an Isser that the Kli that finds its way into the drawer.
But we think I spoke then that if you wash all your fleshig silverware in a dishwasher always.
Oh, then with this man is okay.
Yeah. Then it's about to be choshesh.
Yeah.
No one talks about, and again, spoon's not a good example, but if you talk about, let's say, kalim, which is what we started with, nobody talks about the fact that each kli has chashivas and therefore it's not part.
What chashivas does it have?
It's an individual kli and it has value, and so it has chashivas.
It's an interesting question. I don't remember finding any place that by kalim, if you have a very expensive goldware, whatever you want to call it, very expensive, right? And one gets mixed up. Double choshev with a bottle? I don't think it's it. I don't think you make your own double choshev.
No.
I don't think
The fact something has chashivas.
no, chashivas we only find is chashivas beria, chticharoy, leskabed.
Not in the.
I don't know if we find financial value that should be called the chashivas. I don't know why. But I don't think we find that.
Okay.
Okay, Siv Daled. We'll get back to beliefs in the Kelim also in Mil Siv Daled.
Okay.
But as of now, we have the Shach as Mashma L'Chumra, and the truth is, the Taz also comes out L'Chumra. If you look in the Taz, Siv Cotton Ches, the Taz says,
Let's see if we can fit.
yeah, if you look in the Shach and the Taz, it's interesting, the Taz has a different twist over here. The Taz says at the end of the Taz, Mochamokim Nira, the first of the wide lines.
Okay.
It's probably like a couple of lines before the end.
Second line back.
Mochamokim Nira. Dafa Pisha Mutter L'Shtamish B'chol HaKelim Elus and this arav V'Kamashgot V'Rashba Hevi B'Seisif Mochamokim Ein La'ash Oisam Zman Meruba. Don't leave them lying around for a long time without kashering them. Elam Ken Yaksha Kulam. Why? Misafik. Kivin She'ishe Bottle B'Roiv Havalai Din Yavish She'Bottle B'Roiv Yavish She'Mavur Dinah B'Simich Kufiyot She'Asal Oichlam Kulam Yachad V'Yesh Chal Nochush Shema B'Zman Meruba Yishtakech HaTarevis V'Yavor La'arev HaTafresh HaMizbashal V'Chol HaTarevis Yachad V'Yechlam V'Yavor L'Dei Iser Al-Kain Roi L'Lachshar Kulam Misafik. So it has a new twist why you should machshir it. You have here one iser and three heter spoons. So it's batal b'roiv. But are you allowed to use all 4 spoons at the same time?
No, you're not.
You're not allowed to. Simcha Yud, Simcha Tes, I mean.
Good.
You can't use all 4 at the same time. That at some point you're going to forget, and you're going to use all 4 of them for a tafshil, and mix the tafshil together, and then it's aser. Therefore, don't leave it that way and be magalit. So Taz,
use 1 spoon at a time.
that's fine. But don't leave it that way, because you may forget and use all 4 of them together. So Taz is a new...
The Taz and the Shach come out the same.
Right, for a different reason. Right, the Shach says because we don't pass like the Rajba. Taz, even if you pass like the Rajba, you should be machshir.
How long would you leave it for? Because once it's 24 hours, it doesn't matter anymore.
Even if it's any ben yemei.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if it's any ben yemei, can you do like Chetchila?
No.
You can't do it, no.
No, you can't.
Even if it's any ben yemei, the Chetchila, you can't use all 4 spoons.
Right.
Yeah, Chetchila you can't use. The question is they're making zera. Taz is mashma even if it's any ben yemei. But it's not mashma, it's mefurish. You're going to leave it for a long time, and then you use all 4 of them together.
Right.
That's any ben yemei. Yeah. Says the Chabavai, the Siv Daled. Yes, Misha Emet la Shachta Rishus HaMatirim Heicha Sha'Michel Miskalkel. There's a second clause I said before. If the food gets a little niskalkel, it is called Ein Matirim. The Kiva Ego argues, if you look at Kiva Ego, Heicha Sha'Michel Miskalkel, Harashal B'Yam Sha'Shleima, Choy the Gam is there Mikri Yechel Matirim. Even if food is not going to be as good as it was till now, it's called Yesh Lamatirim. He argues in this Mechaber. He brings the Mashal that argues. Says the Remo, Haga, how did the Yesh Lamatirim ein a bottle and a dafke ma isser be'en? Only if the isser is be'en, v'shesh adayim ma moshes the isser b'taroivis. Aval but taimoi bottle. If there's a tam in an isser, the tam is bottle. And the question is why? Why is the tam bottle?
Because the food is spoiled. So what's tam look like? It's also spoiled.
Isn't that similar?
Taste of this food. If the food is spoiled, taste is spoiled too.
It's spoiled, it's nice and down and down.
Yeah, it's not spoiled.
The thing we had with the beria, like the beria is aser, but
Yeah.
the tam of
So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see in a second. This is different than beria. Beria, the word is called davar chashuv. The beria. The tam is really not davar chashuv. The tam that comes out of a beria is like a beria that gets in strasik. It becomes bottle. Here, what's the reason why Dosh Mativ is not bottle? Because eat a beheter. Wait, and eat a beheter. Who cares if it's only Belias? Who cares if it's only Tamway? What should be enough Kamina? That's a shach kash over here.
That only works according to Rashi.
Even according to the Ran, the Belias themselves will become heter. Even according to the Ran. The beliefs themselves will become heter. So why not wait? According to Rashi, wait because Asher Techlanu, and according to the Ran, it will become heter the beliefs. The only time you say that the beliefs is bottle is when it's totally in chashivas. We'll see in the Taz in a minute. It's totally in chashivas. If it's not totally in chashivas, so the beliefs are not bottle. Right, so that's one thing the Ramah says. So it says Tamai, sorry, before Bliss. He says the first thing is Shazayim Amasas Isra Taruvis Aval B'Tamai Bottle. V'chenim Ein Isra Machmas Atzmai. It's not Isra Machmas Atzmai. Bottle. It's bottle. Even though you have Isra Nivla in a heter, it's not Machmas Atzmai, it's bottle. V'chein Chaticha Shal Nimla Chatekim Ul Yamim. Alpi Shesh Eimim Demikri Dav Shesh Lamatirim. Hoyel Muteres Letzli. Some people hold that it's called Yesh Lamatirim because Hoyel Muteres Letzli. That's what the Ramah says. Two halachas. Tam, there's no din Yesh Lamatirim, and Blias, there's no din Yesh Lamatirim. Agav, the Ramah throws in an example of Dam, Yesh Lamatirim, because it could do Tzli, the Shachin, Ksiv Kan Yirav, argues in that, Kloimar, Ve'ikir Einekain, Dele Mikri, Dava, Sheyesh Lamatirim, Hoyel Ulatzli, Leineser, Me'elam. This is Yisrael Yesh Lamatirim. Yesh Lamatirim we had also last week with the Behetiv, we started a little bit. Yesh Lamatirim is, I have an Isser, that Isser is going to become mutter. This Dam, for Bishul, is never going to become mutter. What's Yesh Lamatirim? Go do something else with it. Go do Tzli with it. It's not called Yesh Lamatirim. But Tzli was always mutter. But Tzli was always mutter. That was the whole thing with the Tanagoylis, the Suffolk Treifa. But the Behetiv says, why is it called Yesh Lamatirim? Because maybe you find out what the halach is with it, so what? If now it's mutter, it's mutter. If it's also, it's also. You don't know, it doesn't say that Yesh Lamatirim. Same thing here. It's Yesh Lamatirim is only if you matter it for what it was also till now. The Tzli wasn't also till now. Therefore it's not called Yesh Lamatirim that I could go do something else. That's the Shach Sif Kan Yud Aleph. But getting back to the Ramah's Chiddush of Tam and Blias. So if you look in the Shach, Sif Cotton Tess. He says, "V'hod Rosh Hashanah made a bottle, avatam a bottle, v'ha im livnei by a Michel, and mola by Tanagoza, and a bottle, hainem b'shum the chashiv, mamosh shalisser, but the chashiv limuach, v'eina be'en." This is going back and before. Why we said before that if it has a mara, it's not bottle. But the Shach is like this: Miu tzarich ian gam b'zeh. The nirla fini statim in Ashas in the Dorim, Yisham be'gvon the Dorim, Ataisvis, V'rash v'ram the Dorim. The Dover sheyesh loy matirim afilu tamoi lebotol b'minoi. Even tamoi is not bottle. First the Shach he argues afilu tamoi loy bottle. Shach argues on the Ramah. Then the Shach wants to make a chilik that maybe you're going to be mechalik between tamoy, or if the Isser itself fell into it. Tamoy means you put a piece of meat in, you pull it out, all you have is tam. Moshe means you pour a davalach into a different davalach. Shach says also it's not a difference. It doesn't make a difference. The Shach says that even if the guf hataruvis was this arif, it's still kodesh l'matirim. He's not mechalik. So the Shach argues under the Ramah, and he holds blias and tam are yesh l'matirim. He's more machmer.
What would be a case of the blias?
Blias, chaylev goes into a piece of meat. They want yesh l'matirim.
Yeah.
Yesh l'matirim. Truma. Sometimes it's Mashal on Shabbos.
Yeah,
So it's Mashal on Shabbos.
Egg should order the Shabbos, and you cooked it, and it was cooked in a pot. So now in the pot there's bleach from that egg.
Yeah, also true.
So
It's the material.
could you use the pot now? You can't use the egg. Okay, I'm asking.
That's a shayla. That's a shayla.
You can't use the pot.
That's a shayla. If you're mavashal or Shabbos, does the pot become also or not? There's a Rashba and Shinei Ches says the pot becomes also. It's double also.
For how long? Till Motzei Shabbos?
Pashas till Motzei Shabbos. After Motzei Shabbos, you're allowed to eat the Michel also.
Right.
But for himself, it's la'ilam. So shayla is the pot is also. But if you mavashal something on Shabbos, that food is also.
If he did it b'mezid, the pot is also for him the olive?
Maybe.
Wow.
Because it's did it the food is also from la'ilam.
Yeah. It's another pot.
Okay, but it's a samach gam maybe.
Oh, yeah.
It's any ben yemoy. So you ever had to any ben yemoy. But the case of blias is if you cook something on Shabbos, a soup, and that soup gets nivla into a piece of meat. That's a blias. If you look in the Shach Sif Katan Yud, also the argues on blias. V'chein ein isamach misatzmai. Hakol tofso l'rab hazeh. Kivim davish l'matirim hu mali belua hu Eloi saif yesh hetali suroi. It has a hetali suroi. Therefore, the Shach argues on the Ramah in both cases, Sayin Tam and Sayin Blias. The Taz also argues in the Ramah, and the Taz explains it very nicely over here. I'm going to skip the first part of the Taz about the Keli. If you look here in the Taz, I'm not sure where it is in the old Shulchan Aruch. It's probably like in the new ones. It's probably like almost halfway through the Taz. It says Ella the koshalon mas vara yesh the loyal have a davish antina be'isa belua. You see it on the line from last time.
You see it one. This is six wide line.
Ella the koshalon. And this is really what the Shach also meant, but the Taz explains it very nicely. Koshalon, mas vara yesh the loyla have davish yesh lamatina be'isa belua. Why shouldn't there be a din yesh lamatina be'isa belua? Kivash al kapanim which had to lechaticha zu leikida levatel eisa beroiv. From why bechol davish yesh lamatina. Bishleim le'inyin roy lechabed shapi yesh leimed lo yechmiru ela ima isru chashuv. Only if the Isser is chashuv and Belias aren't chashuv. Avaloya mechaticha hachashuva muteres and the yeshba Belia asura. Why the mekamakam ein al chaticha zu Isser mitzad atma ve'ein Isser al shem hachashivas. The Isser is on the Belias. Nimtza the Isser lechud v'chashivas lechud. Explains it very nicely. The Isser is the Belias, the chashivas is the chaticha. So the Isser, the Cheshivas is not in the Isser, therefore by Blias or by Tam, by Chticha Roy L'Skabed, it's not called Roy L'Skabed. Avalin, there was just Lamatirim, who Iker, Kivin Shesh Leheta B'le Bittel, Leinelech Achar HaBittel, Im Kain, Kol Shesh Leheta L'Yisurei Mitzad Atzmai, Oy La B'lu Aboy, Shavahu, it's Shava, and it is Aser. So the Shach and the Taz both argue in the Ramah, and they hold that Blias and Tam, the truth is that Taz only says it by Blias. He doesn't say it by Tam. I have to speak to Taz, very important. The Taz only argues by Blias. The Shach argued by Tam and by blias. Shach Sivka and Tes argued on Tam, Shach Sivka and Yud argued on blias. The Taz, in this whole Sivka and Yud, only argues on blias. What does the Taz hold in the first part of the Ramah of Tam? There the Taz agrees to the Ramah. There he agrees to the Ramah. What's the reason? The Shach has a good taina. Anyway, to become heter. So if you look in the Taz, Sivka and Tes, I will time a bottle.
Which safe?
Sivka and Tes.
Okay.
Pirish, Shem Iser Nitel Misham, Raksha Polat Sham Tam, Oisei Tam, Einoi Chomir, Lesar, Bishvil Dovar, Shesh Le Matirim. Taz says, Dovar Shesh Le Matirim, in order for it to be an Iser Shesh Le Matirim, it can't be just Tam, it has to be more than just Tam. If it's just Tam, Einoi Chomir, Lesar, Bishvil Dovar, Shesh Le Matirim. It's not Chomir enough. It's Tam Ba'alma. Tam Ba'alma, we don't get involved in Shesh Le Matirim. You have to know what that means. That's what the Taz says. So the Taz agrees to the Ramah in the Gay Tam, argues in the Gay Blias, Shach argues side by Tam and side by Blias. Says the Mavaita, Kol Isser Shalahaya Nikir Koidim Shenes Arav have a bottle, Abi Shadav Shesh Le Matirim. Any Isser that wasn't Nikir before it became mixed in, even though Shesh Le Matirim, it's mutter. This case is a case of Shabbos. If you have a gigas, a vat full of grapes, the halach is grapes, the juice of the grapes that come out on Shabbos is asur. So there it says, if there is juice already in the vat, and there's grapes inside, and the juice of the grapes is coming out straight into the other grape juice. So it's never hukar issa for a second. There we say it's bottle. Even though it's Shesh Le Matirim. Wait till Matzah Shabbos and you can drink the grapes. Doesn't make a difference. If it comes, if the grapes on top and it's dripping into the vat, it's awesome. 1 second, it's awesome. But if it's inside and you never see the Issa coming out, we'll see in Shimon Shon Chof or Shon Chof Alpha, I think it is one of the two. That halacha is that therefore, since it was never oimid be'isurah for 1 second, it's bottom.
It did not stand for itself. So
yeah, that's the halacha. Chalitzus lahaya nikir kaidim shenesar v'abot api shetoshos lamatir. Misha nodar medavar echad v'nesar v'achach and they got mixed in. The day mikir devoshes lamatir. For him it's called desh lamatir, and this was the raya of the shach before that even though it doesn't happen by itself, you have to come and be materit. It's called desh lamatir.
Could it be nicker by measuring it, like measuring how much goes in?
No, it could be. Now we know there's more, but the second issa comes out was never oimid by itself.
But still, I mean, it's nicker in the sense
afterwards.
You do a measurement afterwards.
Yeah, and it's already bottled then. It's already bottled. Yeah, you could have a vat of grapes that has 1 ounce of grape juice in it. There's a bunch of grapes, and by the end of Shabbos you have 20 ounces of grape juice. It's still bottled for Shabbos, because as long as when it comes in, that drop right away is in the other grape juice. It was never hooked for 1 second. It's bottled.
So how Sunday is different? It's only for Shabbos. What's happening Sunday?
Sunday is mutter already.
That's what I'm saying. So you say only for Shabbos.
Yeah, Shabbos.
Even for Shabbos. Even for Shabbos.
Yeah, even Shabbos mutter. Yeah. Yeah, it says the Mavaita, the Efshel Lishal al Nidroi, a neder is Efshel Lishal al Nidroi. Now, right in the Ramah, David Sheshlam Heter, V'choyze V'neser, something that has a Heter, now, V'choyze V'neser, then Chometz Pesach, on Pesach it's also, after Pesach it's Mutter. So it's Sheshlam Atirim. Chometz Pesach should not be bottled. Because it's Sheshlam Atirim.
But it also, again, began
with the Rabbanon. Yeah. Chametz b'Pesach, loy mikri dosh Shesh Le Matirim. It's not for Shesh Le Matirim. Why? Because now it will become mutter after Pesach, but next year Pesach it will become asur again. Asur again. V'yesh chol kibuzeh.
So that's the same story with the Ner Chanukah.
Ner Chanukah, same thing, yeah?
Same idea.
Yeah, same idea. So Ner Chanukah is
that was
it's just the opposite. Next year you could use it, right? It's the opposite. The whole year is also, then you can use it. And some people argue with the Now, what's this machlokes? So the Aruch HaShulchan explains it beautifully. He says, what's happening here? You have chometz on Pesach, now it's Aser, right after Pesach it's Mutter. What are you going to say? It's not going to be Matirim. Why? Because next year Pesach will be Aser again. According to Rashi, that the heter of Yesh Matirim is Asher Tachlena Be'Isser, Tachlena Be'Heter. So why is it not Yesh Matirim? Because next year Pesach will become Aser again. So why?
Before it becomes Aser, it's going to be Mutter.
Yeah, he did after Pesach.
Right.
But if you're like the Ran, that the whole heter Yesh Matirim is because the Yesh Matirim is called Min B'Minoi, because it's heter beheter, because it's going to have a heter, then you can understand that if it's become Aser again, you can't call this heter. You cannot call this heter. It's Aser, heter, and Aser again, you can't call it heter.
It's going to be heter again.
It's going to be Aser also.
It's going to be heter.
Yeah, but it's not Min B'Minoi. There won't be a point that it's always mutter. Forever.
So you go on its final.
Yeah,
status. It doesn't have a final status.
It's right.
It exists forever, so it keeps going back
and forth. But something that becomes mutter, even though now it's aser, tomorrow it'll be the same thing as the heter. It'll be heter l'olam. That's what the Aruch HaShulchan explains. The two tzadim here by Pesach is called yesh matirim or not. He says totally in the machlokes Rashi in the Ram. Very nice part.
And the Rambam align themselves like that.
I don't know. I'm not sure what they hold yesh matirim. You have to check, see if it stems, if it makes sense. That's what Aruch HaShulchan says. Very nice shot. I'm not saying anybody agrees to that. That's what he explains. Yesh matirim by chometz bepesach. It says the Mavaita v'lamikra davar shesh matirim elem kein huter l'misha nesa. It became huter to the one who it was nesa for himself. Avlam nishar le'echad le'olam aser. But for one person it stays forever aser, for example, someone who cooks b'mezid on Shabbos. So for him, if this thing gets mixed up with other food, he's allowed to eat it, because ein l'matirim. But for the ones who didn't do it, lacherim, which the lacha is, they're allowed to eat it after Shabbos. So it gets mixed up on Shabbos, they can't eat it.
Such a weird paradox.
They have to wait. Because they can eat it after Shabbos beheter.
So for the guy who did it amazing,
it's ein l'matirim. So it's more cooler for him on Shabbos if it gets mixed up. But for the guy who did it b'shoigig, not the guy who did it b'shoigig, the guy who didn't do it, so he's like, eat it Motzei Shabbos, if it gets mixed up on Shabbos, him, he has to wait till Motzei Shabbos. It's mutter. That's what comes out.
You get the price.
For the mikra davar shesh l'matirim, elam ken huter l'misha nesa, avam nishar le'echad le'olam aser, af agav shemuter l'acheirim, v'yan avashal b'Shabbos, le'mikri davar shesh l'matirim, it's not called davar shesh l'matirim. Now, if you look in the Pesach Tshuva, we read that in Chiddush. Pesach Tshuva Simcha Yud Beis. Hamvashal b'Shabbos. Ayin b'Magen Avram Siman Shin Ches. I think it's a mistake.
Where is it?
I think it should be Shin Yud Ches. Pesach Tshuva Simcha Yud Beis. They fixed it in the Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah, it says
Shin Yud Ches. Oh, fine.
It just says
Shin Ches. It's a mistake. It's Shin Ches. Shechasa the Ma'ashin is arav achar Shabbos. Even for Acherim, it's only talking about Shnis Arav Achar Shabbos. Aval Mesarav Boy B'Yoyim on Shabbos Aser Loi Hoyel V'Chal Davash Yesh Lamatirim LeAcherim. Since for Acherim it's Yesh Lamatirim, it's also for him also. Motzei Shabbos, it's also for him. Motzei Shabbos is mutter for him, I mean. Motzei Shabbos mutter because it's ein leheter lamis. So yesh lamatirim. On Shabbos, where for Acherim it's going to have a heter, for him also it's also. That's what the Magen Avram says. A big chiddush of the Magen Avram. I think there's a Kiveig over there in Hilchos Shabbos.
Can you say it again?
If on Shabbos, where it's also loy, mutter l'Acherim. So if it gets mixed up on Shabbos, says the Magen Avram, since for other people it become mutter, that's called yesh lamatirim, even for you. Even for Mevashal Atzmoy. He says you don't split it up. You don't split it up for him. If it's mutter Shabbos for some people,
there is a hechsher for it.
There's a hechsher for it.
Yeah.
There's a hechsher for it.
So even though it's us for me personally, there's a hechsher for it, so it's still called everything.
Right. But Shaykh Mutter Shabbos,
Right.
where there's no more heter than there is now, so that for you yourself it's also. It's mutter, I mean.
If it gets in that charubos.
Yeah.
And it's bottom.
And it's bottom. And it's bottom. The Chavastasya argues in this. He says, no, each person's for himself. Same by a neder, right? By a neder. I'm making that also for me, so it's bottle. Here's the material, so then it's mutter. Simicha Gimel, din is tam of gam. Kol davar anything shatam pogum, eina oiset haravasa. Anything that's its tam is pogum, eina oiset haravasa. Now what does it mean its tam is pogum? A full ein tam pogum machmas atzmai. Even if the tam is not pogum in itself has a good taste. Tastes very good. So if the atzmai hu mutam mushbach, el she pogum taravasa mutam. It's pogum the tarus that's in, it's mutam. Now the Pashas will go with the Pashas, the reason of the, like the Rabbi says that what's the reason why nois and tam of gam is mutter? Because you have here a taruvus. You have roiv heter, a miyat iser. It's batal b'roiv. What are you telling me? No batal b'roiv. You know why? Tam ki'eker. It gives tam here. It gives tam. So the tam it keeps it from becoming batal. So tam is paigim, the tam has zero chashivas. It's not a tam. A tam that's paigim is not a tam. Right? The whole reason is because it gives it a tam, that's a good tam. A bad tam is not a tam. Like they say, if you have a tie that has a spot on it, it's not a tie. A tie is meant for niceness. Right? If it's dirty, so it's not a tie even. Same thing here. Tam is tam, right? As I say, that's what they say about ties. Tam is the same thing. Tam is because it makes it taste good. It has a chshivas to it. It gives a good taste.
Full of not ties.
What?
I have a closet full of not ties.
Not ties, yeah.
You have to change your not ties to ties.
Not, but not.
So that's the Rashi's reason. The Ran has a different reason.
Are you saying that, according to that, it's not a tie, which means it's nothing?
Correct.
So
the tam is nothing. Doch shivas of tam. I didn't say it's nothing. I didn't say it's nothing.
And that's why I'm going back.
Yeah, doch shivas of tam.
That makes a big nafkamina.
Of course, the isser is there. If the isser is roiv, it's also.
But that's going to be. If you say it's nothing,
No,
it's like it doesn't.
No, because the reason why when the isser is roiv is also not because of tam.
It's not called a tie. But
it's not because of tam. It's not because of tam. It's because it's roiv. Tam.
It's the ikar.
Because when there's a bit of a roiv, you want tam to be the iser. This is not tam. It isn't tam. There is no tam here when it's tam of gam.
So when the isser is more than the roiv,
the reason why there's no bit of a roiv.
There's no bit of roiv.
Nothing to do with tam.
If you say that that whatever it is the nois in tam lefgam is nothing.
No, I said tam is nothing.
The tam is nothing.
The tam is nothing. Yeah.
Right.
The tam is nothing.
The quantity is there.
Yeah, the ikr is there. The tam is nothing. The reason why you want to ask is because of tam. Tam is nothing. Okay, that's thrown out. The reason of tam
if tam is good is okay, but if it's bad, then it's not cancelled.
Subjective, right? I mean, like what tastes good to you could taste.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see that. Mishnah Masif Dal. If we get to it today, by Yayin and Shemen and Boser. Yeah, we're talking about opposite times. Everyone agrees to what's problem.
No accounting for taste, they say.
Yeah. Right. It's a matter of taste. Yeah, you can't. You're right. I don't have an answer to that. I don't have a clear answer to that. If for me it makes it taste bad, is that called tam pogum for me? I don't think so. I think you go basu roiv b'nei adam. I never had a clear riot to that. But I think you go basu roiv b'nei adam. You don't like a certain thing. You don't like mushrooms, right? Yeah, mushrooms mixed into a thing, and it gives tam. So you take the mushrooms out, us the mushrooms. For you, it's a tam pogum. Now you don't like it. It's not called tam pogum. Because you don't like something, it's not called tam pogum. I think so. I never had a first right to it. I think time goes both the Rabbi and the other. Fine. So it's called. This is the Rashba's reason. The Ran has a different reasoning. The Ran's reasoning is that anything that it's in a tafshil, anything that's in a tafshil, if it's not there, if you'd rather it's not there, then it doesn't answer. If you'd rather it's not there, it doesn't answer. So if you have Isser that's Roiv, that's what it is. You can't say you'd rather it's not there. The Isser, it is called Isser. But now the Isser is Mu'at. Now the Isser is Mu'at, so the Tam says you want it there. If it gives the Tam Pogum, then you'd rather it's not there. Because you don't want the Tam Pogum. That's why the Ran says, we'll see in Sif Beis, that if you'd rather, since it adds so much to the tafshil, it makes it bigger, you have more food here, and you'd rather have it the bigger size, the quantity, even though the quality is bad, then it's still awesome. So the Ran does not say those words that a tam that's pogum is not a tam. Somebody says a tam that's pogum maybe is a tam, but we don't look at it that way. We look at it, would you rather it not be here? If you'd rather it's not here, then it doesn't answer. Then it's bottom. Then it's bottom. If you look in this Taz, Sifkan Aleph, Shatame Pogum, the nice time of Gam Mutter the Alfina Lamiger, the Selecycle called Nevela, Gersh of Shach, the Nano, Nevela, Array the Ger, Korean, Nevela, the Ger, Live, Shmachi. Kalsha Isibit Arayva, said Rive, Fahet the Muit, have a kilo hub of Neatzman, Fain Laheta, actually have Nifkam Gamri, Nevela. If the Isser is the Rive and the Heter is the Miat, so it is Isser. And the only time it becomes mutter is if the Isser is totally nifkam, like an avela, and then it's mutter. Isser hein be'isser sheyesh by mamish u'bottle be'roiv b'rev heter hein be'isser she'ein mamish al-les and tam av she'ein roiv heter dai loy im yeh nifkam k'tzas oiset ha'roivis taha loy nehena met ha'roivis shum tam. This is the way the Ran says it. You're not having any hana from the taroivis of the Isser. You'd rather it's not there. It's not the Rajman. The Rajman says tam pogum is contaminant. So nacham kol davar shatame pogum ein aser taravasa. Full ein tame pogum machos atzmei shebefnei atzmei umuter mushbuch as a pogum taravasa muter. Mir dvarim hachashuvim kiberia ak yetzba im ein pegumim ba'atzman afa pi shepogumim hatafshil ein a betel afil be'elaf. Why not? Why is it afil be'elaf? It's pogum the tafshil. The teretz is because there the reason why it's not bottle is not because of tam. It's not because of time. It's a chshivus. So who gives it it's pagim the tafshil? It's still not bottom. If it itself is a pagim, is a pagam, it tastes bad, then it's mutter. Then it's mutter. But if it itself tastes good, it's pagim the tafshil, so what? It's still mutter. Now it's interesting. A barrier that tastes bad in itself. You have a barrier, not just in the food. In itself, it has a bad taste. You don't like it. Most people don't like it. And it falls into a tafshil. Is a bottle?
No, bottle is not.
The tam is a sure bottle. How about the berry itself?
Well, we had a special rule.
But it's pogum. If you read the Mechaber itself, the Ramah itself is mashma. Midvar machshuvim kiberia akiyetba. Them eine pegumim ba'atzmam. What is them eine pegumim ba'atzmam? They themselves aren't pogum. Alpish a pogum atafshul eine betelim. What is eine pegumim ba'atzmam? What does that mean?
Means they are not broken or one like
Eine pegumim ba'atzmam means that its taste that it usually has is not pogum. It has a certain taste. You leave it, it gets rotten, spoiled. That's called pegumim ba'atzmam. But if it happens to have a bad taste, this berry, you're not allowed to eat the berry the way it is. You're not allowed to eat it. It's not called an avela. You're not allowed to eat it.
The berry with the bad taste?
You're not, even a berry that doesn't taste good, you're not allowed to eat. So if that falls into your soup, it's not bottle. Only if it became rotten. But what the Ramon means over here, means they became no good. But if it happens to have a bad taste, this berry, and it falls into your soup, it's still not
So
possible.
the dead flies in the soup, which is fell dead.
It makes a difference. It's not spoiled.
Not spoiled.
It's not bottled.
That
It's
fly
not bottled.
will get rotten and then it will fall into your soup, then it's okay.
No, I mean the fly flying and they died and they fell.
No, that's soup. That's burial.
Dead
If you look at the Tefillah Tzaddik, not sure if you have a Tefillah Tzaddik, and the Nushal Chanorachs, Tefillah Tzaddik is like this, on this halacha. Mashmad, in Pegumim Ba'atzmam, if they themselves are Pogum, now he learned Pegumim Ba'atzmam means that they taste bad. Gam Beria bottle. A berry is also bottle. It's not like we just said. So it says, which is like worms. The Torah is, it's not Pshat in the Ramah. The Ramah is not saying that they have a bad taste. The Ramah is saying that they got spoiled. They had a certain taste and that taste became spoiled. That's Peguma Ba'atzman. But the fact that they have a bad taste in themselves is not a reason why they're bottled b'samach.
So something like vinegar, for example, does that have a din of... that can be...
No, that's something else. We're talking about barrier.
Yeah, I know what a barrier, but I'm saying like, it's only in the case of...
Only in the case of barrier. Because the barrier doesn't go after time. So it happens to taste bad.
In other cases, it can be...
Yeah, of course. If vinegar has a bad taste, you put it into your soup, and it ruins the soup. It's called tampogum. That's tampogum.
Even though it's not spoiled.
Right. That's tampogum.
Goes against what you just said?
Right.
Yeah.
Tefillah Tzaddik as a kasha. He understands the Ramah. The Ramah says, "Eina peguma ba'atzma." He understood eina peguma ba'atzma means they don't have a tampogum in themselves.
Right. They just taste bad, even when they're
right.
fresh.
They're fresh. Even when they're fresh. Right. They taste bad.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So what's the problem with Talam? That's what he asks.
What's the problem with Talam?
Talam has a bad taste. So why isn't it bottled b'shisha? Tzarachin, he says. Teretz is a very simple teretz. The Ramah doesn't mean that. The Ramah means that the taste got ruined.
Yeah.
Whatever the fresh taste is, that fresh taste got ruined. It became pogum. Yeah. But if it's in its original taste, even though that taste is bad, you're not going to eat a barrier.
Meat becoming pogum.
Right.
It doesn't mean the meat is a bad meat.
Right, nevela. It spoiled.
Yeah.
But if it didn't spoil its original taste, even though it's a bad taste.
So rotted worms would be bottle.
Yeah. Rotted worms would be bottle.
What's that? What did you say?
Rotted worms would be bottle.
Would be bottle.
Yeah. Never become rotten. They just dried up. Or I don't know what's happened to them.
That's rotten.
Okay, Steve Bays.
You want to follow them? Okay.
Steve Bays.
Disappear like a dust.
Pegam ze ein tzarich shifkam legamri. Actually, a kotz l'achla. This pegam, you don't need that it should be pegam legamri like we spoke of before, that you can't eat the whole tafshil. Ella, full of pegam k'tas. Even though it only gives a little pegam into the food.
And also.
It doesn't answer to the vasa. Why? Because the tam is just ruining it. It's not making it better. V'yesh mishayim edhayim dafka k'shes arav itzim mu'et im hetem meruba. Aval itzim meruba v'tach hetem mu'et. Itzim meruba, a lot of itzim mu'et im hetem meruba. Itzim meruba, a lot of itzim v'tach hetem mu'et. A full of mechza ein oimer nois tam l'vgam mutter at shrifkaim l'gamri. She'ein roy l'machal adam. V'gam ein sham ha-moshe shal itzim el-tame bavad. Aval itzim meruba, if you have a lot of itzim v'hetem mu'et, mutter im poigim k'tzas. Right? The Ishmael Omer is the Rav Mashita that as long as the Isser is the Mu'et, this is not the Roiv, it's poigim k'tzas, it's mutter. But the Ishmael Choichich, Loimar, no. Shem higdil Isser midasa shal heter, acho mashbiach yoiser, kisha oichle begoydle midasa. If it is mashbiach it, and in a way that you would rather have it in there, because you have more now, even though it's giving a bad taste. Mamashu poigim behefse taimoy, aser achiyavsul malachal adam. That's also till it spoils it legamri. They can't eat it anymore. This is the Ran Shita, like we saw before in the Taz, that the yisoid is to lo nene mataravasai, and here you be nene mataravasai. You'd rather have it there because now you have more. That's the machlokes, the Rashba and the Ran. I think it's clear, right? When is a pagam called a pagam? That's pagim mit chlasa v'at seifoy aval meshpiach ul b'seif pagim. If it was good, and then at the end it became a pagim, so right away when it was good, it asked. Later on, it becomes pogum. Doesn't make a difference. It's very awesome. Oy pagim ul b'seif is biach. Now it's pagim, but at the end it'll be a shpiach. Awesome, because eventually it will become good. And the Shach speaks out over here. Sif Cotton Zayin. Pirish acher shesh biach. Only once it became mashbiach. Aval kodim shesh biach mutter. Before it was mashbiach, it's mutter, because now it's pagam. Aval bishe efshe shesh biach achakach. Even the hashta pagim who midid have a gederis melech to the kamas and cotton base. Here the Shach is a very simple thing. That now it's a bad taste, and it will be mashbiach at the end. So now when it's a bad taste, it's mutter. At the end when it's mashbiach, now it becomes asur. But while it's pagim, you're not going to say because later on it's mashbiach, it's asur now. You don't say it. That's a Shach shita. Shach also speaks out. He says Khan Beis, a full of pagim ktaf. Al davish ein not lesson tam loy l'shvach, but loy l'fkam asur. The concept is says ayin sham. Hashem hagot hashipek beto zchovim to his chatos. Something that doesn't give a time of shvach and not a time of gam, it's parav, you need shishim. You need shishim. But nearly right by the kaimelon, the aim begid to be nice and tam. So fill off in kaimelon, the gufay shall gid and the muach tzarech samach negda. Gid doesn't give any time. And still, if the gid was nimuach, you need shishim to negda the gid. There's no time. The Torah says, as long as it's not pagim, it's still, you need shishim. Which is a big chiddush in the Shach. Because the way we explained the Rashba...
It's neutral, the Shach.
Right. Which is hard to understand. Because the way we explained the Rashba, it's only because it's giving tam, so now it's chashuv. Tam pogrom is not tam. If it's neutral, so then why should it answer? Why should it answer? Torah says it's a din of shishim, even without tam. That's how you have to answer it. And I showed it before. If there's no tam in the shishim... Okay. Says the Ramah, Yesh Aimrim, Afa Gavta Isser, Neusam of Gam, Va Michel Mutter. You have a food. In the food, you have an Isser, that's Neusam of Gam. Let's say you have a piece of meat, and in the piece of meat with some vinegar. It's also the vinegar, like we said. So that's Pagim the meat. So, Neusam of Gam, and if there's shishim, even if there's no shishim, it's Mutter. The kedera that was cooked, this meat was cooked in, is asur. Why? Because the vinegar that also goes into the water of the kedera, and that's issa. Now, if it goes into another tafshil, so now it's a nice tam shvach maybe. So you have a piece of meat that has in it vinegar. The piece of meat is mutter.
You don't say that the pegima goes into the kedera also?
It's not the pegima, because the taste of vinegar goes into the pot.
Yeah.
Now that taste, maybe the next half will be a good taste. Let's just say with the meat.
Yeah.
That taste, going into the next half will be a good taste. If it's a good taste, so then it's asur, rasers. We don't say that when you have the isser, nivla, and heter, that when it's pegimit, we don't say the isser is not here anymore. We don't say that. Isser is still here. It's standing and waiting to become something else. But not the isser becomes erased, and now it's mutal gamri. This tafshil, it can't asr, but the isser is still around. That's a chiddush of this one.
If it is an isser, like I can't think of, let's say it's avodah zarah gasoline.
Yeah.
You know, that's never going to taste good.
So the reason why it's mutal in the next tafshil is because it's pagim in the next tafshil also.
Right. So, but it's always going to be.
Because it's pagim. Because it happens to be it's pagim. But we have a case where it's not pagim in the second tafshil, it's mutal. It's awesome. I'm sorry. It's awesome. That's what the Ramah is saying here. I forgot the Issa next time of Gava Michel Mutter Mekamakam Magdera Surah for Bishla Beachkak Techmes Leis Tafshil She Issa Harisha Noisen by Tam Lishvach Neser HaTafshil Hasheni. the second tafshil becomes asur. Why? Because you're giving into it a tam of shvach. If there's no samach, like this is a rishon. That's the case if it goes into a pot. Avol, says the shach, very important halach here. Avol, im nieroi hatafshil harishon bekaf. The first tafshil you mix with a kaf. V'tachvei achar kaf hatafshil sheni shugam kein poigim. You have vinegar and meat in a pot. The vinegar is tam of gam in the meat. You take a spoon and you mix it. So that spoon is just like the pot. Right? You cook in the pot something that's a shvach, it's asers. The spoon, you stick it in something that's shvach, it's asers. However, I take the spoon, I stick it into a second tafshil. In the second tafshil, it's also poigim. Also poigim. That tafshil is a mutter also. Right?
Yeah.
Now, the bliss of that tafshil that goes to the third tafshil, which is noisen tam l'shvach, is it ganasa or not? That's the child over here. Right? The vinegar went into meat. That's tam l'shgam. It went into the walls of a pot. Right? Spoon, a pot, whatever it is.
Not barna.
And now it goes into something else, and it's noisen tam l'shgam, and the second thing also.
That's how many times removed.
One second. But then it goes back into the walls, and you want to put it into a different tafshil, a third tafshil. What's the halach in that case? Says the Ramah it's mutter. Right? Avol im nieroi tafshil arisha mekav atachvei achar kakav tafshil sheni shugam kein poigim loyne hasra gedeira.
It's not bernat.
Not bernat ateiru would say it's fine. It's not bernat esura. We'll see in a second why. V'chem davar she'ein like tam klag on a yera. So I think about advanced appreciation ragle advoidim vanessa yoyim kol kreitz b'zeh for a different reason, because no tam b'chlal. So why over here is there a heter of not barnat? The shach should cut in you a very important shach to see. Vanessa akdera to have a not barnat. Ha'eser b'kaf v'akaf b'tafshel v'tafshel b'kadera. What do you mean? It's still iser. V'adayin kuloi heter kivin shahu pogum. That's the reason for not barnat. Adayin hu kuloi heter. In the next tafshil, what is it? It's still heter. Once it's heter in the second tafshil, that already loses its koyach. Iser keeps its koyach the whole time. Something that's heter once, twice, it's finished. You can't ask for anymore. You can't ask for anymore. Even though it itself is iser. But it loses its koyach already. Only if it's asr in one tafshil, it's asr in the second tafshil. But since in the third tafshil it is heter, so it's called adayin kuloi heter, kivin shu pogum, kivin to pogum.
So it's not bernat heter then?
That's called not bernat heter. Because in the first tafshil was heter, because it was pogum. In the second tafshil was pogum, so it's heter. So you have a not bernat heter. That's the heter over here. The not bernat heter. Even though it itself is iser, it's called the not bernat heter. Yeah, that's what Taz also says. For woman sif, Gimel, afilu ein koyach be'isser levada lifkoim. Even if the isser itself doesn't have a koyach to be pagim, ela yedei davar acher shemisayeyoi kegoyin shenofal isser likadera sheyesh by melach hatavlin meduchin. There is the issa itself is not pagim. Issa falls into a pot or gives shvach. But because of all the ingredients, the melech is with it, so now it's pagim, that's called pagam. It's called pagam. It doesn't have to be an issa by itself. It doesn't have to be pagim by itself. Even with something else together, it's pagim, it's still called a pagam. This is giving now a tam pagam into the tafshil. Fine, I'm going to stop here.
One more. There's one more
in this lesson.
Yeah, but that was
It's a big one.
Still in 12?
it's a big whatever it goes.
Sure. Still in 12?
Yeah.
That was I'm going to leave that one because that was a long talk. I mean, it's not that much in the Geya.
Okay.
Let's leave that one.
Leave that.
Let's leave that one for now.
Leave that.